Hi everyone, Jarrod Nickel, Executive Director for ProjectCoe.com here. And today I'm going to talk a little bit about Pure for the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3. And now, first I got to apologize because the game's about, over a month old now. And I've been promising a video review for this for quite some time, especially on our staff message boards. So to everyone out there, sorry about the delay. But anyways, let's just move right along. First off, Pure was actually developed by a studio that you probably haven't heard of before called Blackrock Studio. And the reason you haven't heard of these guys is because they're actually a brand new studio, at least by name. Originally, they were called Climax, which developed the fantastic ATV Off-Road Fury series on the PS2 and PSP. But they were bought out by Disney Interactive, and they changed their name accordingly. Anyways, so the point of this is being that these guys have a lot of experience behind them. They're a fantastic developer, and just because they're a brand new name doesn't really mean anything. Okay, so Pure. What's neat about Pure is that it's sort of a mix between, I'd say, an arcade ATV racer and SSX, if that makes any sense at all. Basically, the gameplay is broken down into three major sections. We've got sprint races, which are essentially a one-lap race where you're just sprinting as fast as you can, do whatever you can to come in first place. Then you've got regular race events, which range from between, I believe it's 3 to 5 laps, something like that. And obviously, you're trying to get in first place. And then finally, there's the freestyle events. And this is basically SSX, but on an ATV. I know it sounds a little bit messed up there, but it works surprisingly well. Okay, so the most important thing with any sort of racer is the fact, how are the controls? And with Pure, they're very tight and responsive. This is essentially how it works. You move the left analog stick for all types of motion, including turning and everything like that. Now, as soon as you hit sort of like a peak of a mountain or a jump, what you do is you hold down the left analog stick, and just as you reach the top position, like the topmost position, you sort of flick the stick away from you, and what that'll do is that'll activate sort of like almost like a jump with the ATV. Now, while you're in the air, you can hold various face buttons for your character to perform different little tricks and trying to trick himself out. It's pretty cool. But what's interesting is as you do this, it fills up a boost meter. Again, it works exactly like SSX. The difference here, though, is that the further along you get, the more tricks you activate. And now I know that is similar to SSX. What's interesting is that it's like, how can I say this? It's sort of like it compels you to do tricks, because as you go further and further along, you're going to get multipliers, and your boost is going to increase that much more depending on the more advanced tricks that you do. I know this sounds very like, what the hell is he talking about? But it works surprisingly well. I didn't think, I didn't really expect too much from this, because the ATV Off-Road Fury series was sort of just like an arcade racer. They didn't really go this far. But with Pure, they've truly taken it to the next level. So this trick system works fantastically well, and I'll be flat out honest, they didn't even need the sprint races or the regular races. The freestyle events were just fun enough. But adding the rest of them into the mix really changes up the way you play the game. Because think of it, you've got like these sprint races, all right, in certain events. And now the trick system, it's uniform in the entire game. So that means even if we're doing a sprint race, for example, and you're doing everything in your power to get in first place, you gotta tell yourself, okay, do I just simply, hold on the gas and just like race like a fool in order to get in first place, or do I try and find sort of like a hidden path in the track and perform this crazy trick move that's going to explode my boost and then just boost right away? But you got to think you only have one lap. So it's kind of interesting the way it's it makes the players think about their decisions, which is kind of weird in a game like this. But it works really, really well. Anyways, the World Tour mode is essentially where you're going to spend all of your time in a single-player game. It's broken up into 10 different events. Each event is unlocked by the previous one, and it goes by a point-based system. So if you haven't received enough points in the event before, you obviously won't be able to unlock the next event. I mean, this is pretty typical stuff. Now, as you advance in the game, it gets harder and harder to unlock the next events. Eventually, you're going to have to get first place in every single race, every single sprint, and every single freestyle event. Let me tell you, that is not easy to do. So anyways, each of these 10 different events are split up into all the other types that I mentioned before, and it ranges from 1 to 1, and then later on you may have, say, 3 races, 4 freestyle events. Well, no, maybe 3 races, 3 freestyle events, and one sprint. But for the most part, it's pretty balanced. Now, before you do any of this stuff, okay, you have to design your ATV. Now, this was probably the most disappointing aspect of the game. Well, it's really cool that you can customize virtually every part of your ATV, and we're talking like almost Gran Turismo level of customization here, okay? But what's disappointing is that when you advance in the World Tour mode, you unlock all kinds of new components and parts for your ATV, but it's kind of cumbersome the way you add these new parts to your existing parts. So in other words, like, let's say we got new shocks, and these new shocks are fantastic. In order to add those new shocks to my existing ATV, I actually have to go back into the edit mode and sort of take off my ATV part by part until I get to the shocks. Then I can put the new shocks in, and then I have to reapply all my other parts. They should have had a sort of like swap out feature for each one of the parts available, but hey, what can you do? So the other modes included in the game are a time trial mode, a single event, and that's about it. I mean, it's fairly typical stuff. Thankfully, there's a very robust and actually very exciting and fun online multiplayer mode. We had a lot of fun with this. Got my butt handed to me like you wouldn't believe, but it doesn't matter. It's a blast. So you put all these things together, and you got one hell of a surprising game. The audio-visual package is also quite surprising. I didn't think the game would look as nice as it does. I mean, we can always complain that there aren't enough tracks and stuff like that in these type of games, but truth be told, they're huge. I didn't expect them to have multiple branching paths, a lot of hidden areas, and the music just like a rocking good time. Anyways, overall, I'm really sorry for the delay in this video review, but I gotta hand it to the guys at Black Rock Studio, previously Climax, that they did a really bang-up job with this game. And if you're even remotely interested in sort of like arcade racing games and the SSX style, trick-based games, you should really give Pure a go, because you might be like me and find it quite surprising. I gave the game an 8.7, and truth be told, I think you'll all agree with me that it truly deserves it. Alright, thanks for listening everyone, and I'll see you soon with my video review for Little Big Planet. Take care.